Hi, welcome to Bathtub. Well, when you hear this iconic theme song, and you hear Dodo chirping like crazy in the background, you know it's time for another episode of what we like to call Pointless Adventures in Literature. I'm the Pointless Adventurer, Scott Bradfield. This is the Pointless Adventurers t-shirt, International Bathing Alliance. You don't get any free. If you join the International Bathing Alliance, you don't get this cool shirt. I'm the only person who gets it. Dodo, you get quiet now for a little bit. And Lucky just left the room for some reason. And we're going to talk. I thought because last episode was kind of depressing, frankly. I don't know where Lucky's going. Do you want to come out, Dodo? I think I'm trying to get Lucky involved as much as possible these days. Why don't you come out and say hi to everybody? And try not to scream at everybody. We bought Dodo this brand new coconut. So a lot of exciting things happen around here. She's got a new coconut for her cage. She goes through these things, just rips them to shreds within a few months. Anyway, we're going to talk about my movie career. This is going to be I think I've talked about all this stuff before. I don't have many pointless adventures, but we have a disclaimer. Sometimes these adventures are pointless. Sometimes they're meaningless. Sometimes they're both pointless and meaningless, but they're always pointless, meaningless, or both. And you can bank on that here at the Bathtub. If we fail to live up to that pledge, then you can take us to court. You can, along with the Ronettes. We try to use their Christmas song. We're having a little Lucky update. We're doing our best with Lucky. It's very hard finding ways to deal with these problems, I have to tell you. And everyone knows how to do it, and no one can help you do it. And everyone's got a different opinion. That's all I can tell you. So we're doing training with her, and we're doing everything we can. She's still, there's so many things to keep in track with Lucky, and so many things that set her off. And she goes from like this to this, and out of nowhere. But anyway, we're getting out for long walks, and we'll hope she settles down a bit. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with little Lucky. But today, just to talk about something stupid, I have this cool T-shirt. Our friends Bruce and Lynn Ferber sent me that, and B.K. Smith did the wonderful illustration, and it looks really cool. It's a perfectly. If you join the International Bathing Alliance, you get a free lifetime membership that allows you to read books pointlessly in any bathtub anywhere in the known universe. We don't cover the unknown universe. You know that one, and. Basically, I just put your name on a Google map, and that's the extent of your achievement. And sometimes I send you an e-copy of our bathtub certificate. What else? So we're a little dizzy today. I've been up every night. I'm up in the middle of the night with Lucky, or we're going for walks in the middle of the morning, and then coming back, and then dealing with various different things, adventures, in mental issues with dogs, and thanks for everybody's concerns and all that stuff. We're doing our best. We're doing everything we can for old Lucky. And for ourselves. That's the entire thing about the International Bathing Alliance. Oh, I was going to say one other thing. So I only have like 2 T-shirts I love. I love this one. Here's my other T-shirt. I think I wore this on the early episodes. We don't like to do too much politics in the bathtub, right? We're an apolitical organization. Anyone can come here to this stupid thing and watch it. This is my Bernie T-shirt. My friend Matt Proser brought me that. That would have been 1916? No, 2016 or 2015. I can't remember whenever the first time when Bernie ran up against that idiot Hillary Clinton. Oh my God, she's an idiot. The Democratic Party. Anyway, that was from his campaign then, and it's the only thing I won't allow my wife to throw away. She throws everything away. Once it gets a little dirty or torn, she throws it away. This is like sacrosanct. We don't get rid of the old Bernie T-shirt. The other day, I was wearing this Kill T-shirt out to walk the dog with Lucy, and I usually wear a shirt over it. And so you can't wear that shirt. It makes you look like a crazy person. So I don't know. I guess some people think that's the crazy person wearing this T-shirt. All right. So my movie career. We're going to talk a little bit about my movie career. I think I've talked about some of this stuff before. Dodo's being very good. Lucky's been very good today, most of the time. And how I got into movies and how I became so successful. And I think this will be the first half. I'll probably do the second half eventually. But I have very poor advice from my students. My students always were interested in movie experiences and how you get in the movies and so forth. And I took the old route. I took the standard writer's route into movies, which is A, it was just something to do to make money so I could write my books. And B, I looked for any way I could write everything I've ever written for film or for reviewing was almost always for money. It wasn't entirely true with film, but I always did that to make a living. Just like I taught for a living. I never taught for free. And I don't do much charity work. I figured my writing career is a charity all its own. I think Brian Moore said something similar to me about that. He said, your biggest charity is yourself. So I was always looking for ways to get paid to write film, which, of course, no one wants to do. Most of you know this. You're supposed to write spec scripts and send them in and go schmooze around all over Hollywood and suck up to people. So I waited until I sold a novel that people were interested in. This is The History of Luminous Motion. We've talked about this in previous Pointless Adventures. And it came out in 1989. I had an editor who really pushed it, and it got good coverage, and it got movie interest. Not a ton of movie interest, but it had some movie interest. And so people wanted to buy the script, buy the movie rights to it. And they weren't offering, they were offering money, like if they made the movie, I might get paid. And they gave me not a lot of money up front. It wasn't any big auctions or anything. But I basically stood firm on that. And on another story, which was, I don't have the film of that, which is actually a better movie, which was called The Secret Life of Houses. I talked a little bit about that. It was a short story. But anyway, the short story came along later. The first script I ever wrote was for this, History of Luminous Motion. And I basically told the producers I wouldn't sell them the rights until I got to write the script. And I think they had to pay me some minimal amount, or they would have to pay it down the line. But anyway, it paid me enough money to excuse me from writing fiction. And I wrote a script, and I sent it in. And they wanted me to, one of the things you learn in the movie business, and I'm sure everyone who's been in it has any connection in the movie business knows this, producers are always trying to get you to do stuff for free. It never ends. They're always trying to get you to do they say they want you to tweak it, and then they send you 40 pages of notes. They say, we want you to do this draft just basically because you love us and you want to make some money. And I would never do that. And from the first script, basically I turned into first draft of history, and then I took some notes, and then I sent in a second draft. And I always took it that way. I gave the first notes. The old standard from us old hacks in Go to Hollywood is you have the first script. The first draft is for you. You write what you think is the best script, and then you take their notes and you try to do what they want as much as you can with your script. And I think I did 2 drafts. Anyway, I was quite happy with the script, and they weren't too happy. They ended up going off and getting someone else to write most of the new drafts of the movie History of Luminous Motion, which was turned into a movie called Luminous Motion, which I never saw. So I don't know anything about it except that I was basically we wrote the first draft or two, and it went off to other hands. Anyway, with this script, it's called a spec script. So I had what was called a spec script, but normally you wrote yourself. But here I at least had I had input from some producers and directors who had experience in the film, and I worked on it longer, and I gave it a lot more attention than I would with just a spec script. I didn't get paid for it, and I had a finished script. And that's how my Hollywood career began. It blossomed from that one first script. I sent it to my friend Brian Moore's agent, Patty Detroit. I don't know where the hell Patty is now. I've looked. I don't think she's in. I think it was called ICM, International Creative Management. Don't quote me on that. And we sent it to Patty, and she really liked the script. The producers didn't like it, but she loved the script, and she started sending it out to people to try to get me some work. Now I'm trying to remember here because Patty was the first person who read the script and started sending it out and tried to get me work. And I'm pretty sure I'm not entirely sure, but my second agent, another agent who was very good there, Chris, oh God, I forgot her name already. Sorry, I'm spaced out from not sleeping. I had a really good second agent, but Patty pretty much got me started at ICM and started sending the script around and got lots of good people who liked it, who seemed to like it. And so she got some people to call me to work on scripts, basically just on having read that script. And I met a number of interesting people who I didn't work for. Roberto Pasolini was great. My favorite were Roberto and Trevor Albert, who was producer of a lot of good movies, including Groundhog Day, and a lot of good Uberto, who did he did lots of wonderful movies. I loved the one he wrote. He's also a good writer director. He directed and wrote a movie called Still Life, which I love, and I like most of the movies he was involved with as Trevor. But I didn't get work with them. It didn't quite work out. But I ended up working on a script. Oh God, this is another name I'm going to forget. I ended up working with a guy who was a very good producer, very smart producer, and I've completely forgot his last. Tony. Tony, I'm sorry, I completely forgot your last name. It's just because I'm spaced from sleep, poor sleep, and total disconnection from reality as far as it comes to life right now. And I started working on a script for him, which was based on a nonfiction book about a halfway house for people who had mental illness. Lucky could have been a comfort dog there, or they could have given Lucky comfort. Lucky needs more comfort than she gives, I'm afraid. And anyway, there was a girl that went there, and it turned out that she was in this place. They thought she was schizophrenic, and it turned out she was a multiple personality. Now, many people, there's lots of different opinions about multiple personalities, whether they're real, whether they're fake. I got to know the woman who the book was based on. It was called 88. Oh, sorry. I forget this one too, and I forget the guy, the very nice guy who wrote the book. You see, we really research these pieces. Anyway, I started working on this script based on this woman's, basically her life and the incidents that occurred to her in the book. And I got to know her and her boyfriend. And she was ostensibly a multiple personality. She had 8 or 10, 15 different personalities. And they would call, different ones of them would call me in the middle of the night. This was in the middle 90s, early 90s, middle 90s. And I was worked on this script, and I wrote the script, I called it The Sum of Us, without knowing that there was already a movie called The Sum of Us. But I liked that line, The Sum of Us, all of us together. And it was sort of a romantic, almost comedy about going out with a woman who was a multiple personality. I don't remember the script at all. I know I have it. I haven't read it since then. Anyway, I turned it in, and my first experience that I had in the film business, which was I turned it in, and everybody said, "Oh, it's really good. This is really good." And then I got fired. I still remember that. This is great. This is really great. You really should do more scripts. And then they hired immediately turned it over to what was called an A-list director. I think somebody who'd been nominated for the Academy Award. So I was off that project, but I turned it my best. Again, this is nothing, because I remember really liking the producers I worked with there, and they were very helpful, and they were very, very good producers as far as scripts and so forth, and helping me make it the best. But I do remember every time I would turn in a draft, they were constantly, they were always trying to talk to me before I got down to write. They wanted to have lots and lots of meetings in Hollywood. This is my experience. And they wanted to talk over everything that could happen in a script. And, writers, we don't really know what's going to happen entirely. I would try to give a basic premise and how I was going to go about this script. And then after a while, if you just keep talking about it, you can't finish it. So eventually I just said, okay, I'm turning off the phone. And I wrote my first Hollywood script that I got paid for. And I got into the Writers Guild Union, and I wrote the script, and it never went on to be produced. And there's arguments that some of the other scripts I worked on did go on to be produced. But anyway, so I did that script, and at the same time, I've completely forgot this. I worked on a script for a novel called The Hole by Guy Burt. That's almost all I remember about it, except that the book was the most. I did this for London, where I lived in London at the time, and I worked on a script called The Hole, and the novel was not. It was kind of popular because the writer was very young when he wrote it. Clear mountain water, cool night of day. Try to stay off the meds, especially my dog. I worked for Working Title, another really good group of people. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. And they were all very patient with me. That's how I have mainly positive feelings about the Hollywood profession. As long as I'm not in it, I think they're great. And I worked on a script called The Hole, and they had a script which was a mess as far as I was concerned. And I wrote what I thought was a really great script. I mean, I really do think I wrote a great script for The Hole. And I had and they would come up with weird notes. I remember weird notes working from these people and thinking they were crazy. But then later I kind of thought, well, they were right. One of the producers, who's Eric Fellner. Eric Fellner, these guys are big shots. Working Title went on and on and on, and I went this way, and they went huge success as film producers and did lots of great movies. And I really do respect them. Deborah Hayward and Liza Chase, and they were all great. And I remember at one point, the story was about these kids that were trapped in a hole. Like the title says, the whole movie was set in a hole. And so I was trying to find ways to get the movie out of the hole. And it was about a super evil person trying to destroy these people. Anyway, at one point, I remember in the meeting, the Eric was like, I didn't talk to him very much. I just remember coming to the meeting, and there was one scene in the early draft of the script, which the script was just really boring and it made no sense at all, just people talking. And there was a scene at a beach house, and the scene didn't have any importance at all whatsoever. And I remember Eric going, "We're keeping the beach house. We have to have the beach house." At the time, I kept thinking, there's so many problems with this script, and all he's talking about is the beach house. And as I was writing the script, and as I tried to look at movies and learn a little something about making movies, I realized all he was thinking about was getting it out of the damn hole. That was the biggest problem with the script. It was in a hole. So you wanted to have a beach house, you wanted some outdoor stuff, you wanted to move this book out of the confines of this kind of horror venue. And so anyway, every time I thought the people in Hollywood were idiots, they turned it out to be making more sense than I did. Anyway, that's the first part. I'll do another one. I did another script which was a little higher up the ranks of Hollywood, and I had other adventures. I've talked about my Roger Corman experiences. I'll just probably talk about them eventually. But again, I'll put those off for later. I just think these are just kind of silly little anecdotes, and you won't learn anything about the Hollywood business except try to make sure you get paid for every draft. That was the best thing I did as a Hollywood writer, and the one that got me fired the most often. Don't do any work for free. All right, stay safe. Happy bathing. Take care of your pets. Hopefully someday they'll take care of us.